have heard that it was said by them of old time, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whosoever looks on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if your right eye offend you, pluck it out, cast it from you. This is hyperbole. And if your right hand offend you, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is profitable for you that one of your members should perish, and not that your whole body should be cast into hell. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife. The next verse in Luke is about divorce. Luke 16:18. Whosoever puts away his wife and marries another commits adultery, and whosoever marries her that is put away from her husband commits adultery. That is very similar to Matthew 5:31 and 32. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say to you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits adultery. That word divorced is not in Luke, it's just put away. However, the words put away earlier, Matthew 5:31, put away is underlined, and the note says divorce. Luke doesn't have any of those notes, it's just put away. Mark has something similar in chapter 10. And this is actually mirrored in Matthew 19, where he speaks again about divorce. And I kind of think that what he says in Matthew 5, because it's the Sermon on the Mount, and I'm already convinced a lot of those verses were put there from elsewhere to get Jesus' law, what is just right, across early on in the gospel. Maybe this is a mirror of Matthew 19 and Mark 10, but I'll read you those just so that you can see what's going on. Mark 10, the Pharisees came to him and asked him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife? What did Moses command you? Moses suffered to write a bill of divorcement and to put her away. For the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this precept. From the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, that they two shall be one flesh, so they are no more two, but one flesh. Therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. In the house his disciples asked him again of the matter. And he said to them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another commits adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she commits adultery. Matthew 19 is very close to that. Pharisees come tempting him, saying, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? Have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cling to his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. They say to him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He says to them, Moses, because the hardness of your hearts permitted you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. I say to you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commits adultery, and whoso marries her which is put away, does commit adultery. And here's another question. Which context should it be? Should it be here in Luke? I'm not sure. Because just earlier, you are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knows your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is abominable in the sight of God. And that makes sense then to skip 16, 17, and 18 from Luke 16 and go right to the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. In Matthew, however, it seems to be just randomly put in there, because earlier than that he was saying, you're the light of the world, let your light shine, the law will be kept. So it's talking about righteousness and being a good example. Don't even think about killing someone. Don't hate your brother. You shall not commit adultery. So this seems like it might be connected. However, this is more connected with thinking and hating your brother, because it's saying if you think with lust on a woman, If you look with lust on a woman, you've committed adultery with her already in your heart. So it's going up to the thoughts are important as well. You could sin in your thoughts. And then he's talking about a very specific area of the law. Putting away, bill of divorcement. It seems kind of random how he's elevating everyone's righteousness to the thought level. And I don't think he's making the law more strict. I think he's explaining what it always was. I think God always cared about your thoughts. It seems to be out of place here in Matthew, though. But it also seems that it could be out of place in Luke. So I could leave it either way, one or the other. I don't want to have them both, because they're almost word for word. You know, because the verse earlier, heaven and earth being easier to pass than one tittle of the law to fail, and I did combine that here, because something just like that was mentioned earlier, I think I am going to move the passage from Luke over here into the Sermon on the Mount. Otherwise, it would only make sense to have not only these verses about bills of divorcement and putting away repeated in the Sermon on the Mount and here from Luke, but also the verse just before about one jot or one tittle of the law not passing. So yeah, I'm going to move the passage from Luke over here. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should wait. Because in Matthew it says, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. Right? So that would be just the mention of the law. And then he continues, but I say to you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And that is what it says here. Whosoever puts away his wife and marries another commits adultery. Commits adultery. Oh, wait. I don't know if I can do that, because in here it says, causes her to commit adultery. Yeah, I can't put that there. Whosoever shall marry her that is divorced. It's about the man committing adultery in Luke, but Matthew says causes her to commit adultery. Maybe I should combine this with Matthew 19 instead of Matthew 5. Whosoever shall put away his wife and shall marry another commits adultery. Whosoever puts away his wife and marries another commits adultery. Yeah, this has to be combined with Matthew 19, not Matthew 5. Because it's about the man committing adultery, not causing her to commit adultery. So that kind of takes away the question I had of whether this should even be here from Matthew, because it's just different enough, causing her to commit adultery. You know, I do think that this was put here, maybe even repeated, because this is one of Jesus' first public speeches. I don't know why he'd be getting so deep into the law, and he wasn't even questioned about divorce. When he was questioned about it by the Pharisees, it makes sense that he would go really into the weeds with them. But if he's just talking to a group of people, it makes sense how he begins. You're the light of the world, let your light shine, the law and the prophets will not pass, keep your thoughts holy as well. All these are very general action statements instead of very specific bills of divorce. I think that this passage should be moved from the Sermon on the Mount to Matthew 19, even though it's repeated in Matthew. That way all the words are together. Causes her to commit adultery. That statement, causes her to commit adultery, that is very unique. It's not in Luke. Yeah, that's only in Matthew 5. So that would be the phrase that I'd have to keep. I'm going to put all these verses together. So still, should I have it all in one place? In Matthew 19 and Mark 10? Or should I have it in two places? Matthew 19, Mark 10, and Luke 16. I would feel most comfortable moving it from the Sermon on the Mount. But I don't know about here, Luke 16. I don't know, it just seems like a really big shift when it then goes into the parable of the rich man and Lazarus separated after death in Abraham's bosom. It really sounds like such a big change. I don't know if it should be here either, Luke 16. But the verse before, it's easier for heaven and earth to pass than one tittle of the law to fail. That seems close enough to where I combined it in Matthew. Till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. And in both Matthew and Luke, that mention is before. It's much earlier in Matthew. But it's just before talking about marriage, putting away, and adultery. In Matthew 19, it's not there. You know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to undo the combination of Luke 16:17 with Matthew 5:18, where it's saying, "Till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law." I really want these verses to be close together. Luke 16:17 and 18. And 18 best fits in Matthew 19. Not Matthew 5. But Matthew 5 has a statement, and that's why I think they should not be combined with Matthew 5. It has a statement that needs to be included, you causing her to commit adultery. That's not in Luke 16 or Matthew 19, so I just have to add that in here, which means that I would pretty much be combining Matthew 5 and Luke 16, just in a different place. Okay, this is easy enough. I'm just going to put them all together. Matthew 5, Luke 16, Mark 10, and Matthew 19 are all going to be where Matthew 19 and Mark 10 are. That's the same situation, and I haven't reached that point yet. So when that point comes in Matthew 19 and Mark 10, I'll put them all together.